Kia ora koutou. Konnichiwa. Hello, I'm Nathan.
I'm Tim.
What does it really mean to be yourself in this modern society?
In this series of regular conversations, Nathan and I share experiences, knowledge, and practical tools that can help us all find out who we are and who we might become.
We are the Ikiguys.
And welcome to the Ikiguys podcast.
In this episode, we introduce 8 aspects of life to give conscious attention to for personal development. Then we dive straight into the first aspect, food. Enjoy. So basically, it's aspects of life to give conscious attention to for personal development.
I like it.
And then there might be more succinct ways of saying that.
I like the conscious awareness, did you say?
Yeah. So these are 8 aspects of life to give conscious attention to for personal development. So I think there are probably other like big, seriously other aspects that would really demand attention for other people if we really thought about it and talked about it. So these are things that have come up for me in my life and so I tried to round them out so that they cover generally all aspects from the top to the bottom and left to right, just in the limited time I've had. So having a list like this I kind of arranged it in a certain order, but also depending on who you are and where you are in life, something else might stand out to you more than other aspects.
Yeah.
And so then that might be a good place to start putting the conscious attention on for you, if there was something that stood out for you. So, and I could talk a bit more about blah, 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 but introduce it, but I'll just read it out. These 8 aspects are food, is number 1. Number 2 is exercise. Number 3 is your physical environment. I could explain these a bit more, but food and exercise don't need too much explaining, although it'll be good to go in depth about it. But about the physical environment, I mean like it's your space or whatever small space you have around you that is your room or your house or your office. Make it your space and make it work for you rather than the other way around or just neglecting it. So physical environment. Number 4 is to study. Number 5 is work. Number 6 is socialize. Number 7 is to plan your life. So that's we can go into that a bit more.
Yep.
Make a plan. Have a vision. And the last one is to play. So we could talk and maybe go blah 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 and talk a lot of stuff. So it might be good if you have any questions that come up all the time. Anytime.
We can do this. We can do this one by one.
Sure.
Each one can be a whole episode.
Yeah.
Then we can do your opinion on it, and then we can do my opinion on it as well.
Yeah.
I like this. This is really good.
So what do you think? I tried to have a somewhat complete overview of general aspects of life where it has a wide coverage.
Yeah. I think you've done that. I don't know. I'm sure when we talk about it, you'll give practical tips and tools. That's really helpful, and you explain if we explain the context behind those tips, then we're onto something.
Yeah. Wow. Shall we just go through them? We won't try and draw them out, like only just focus on food.
Yeah.
Because that I could prepare a bit more so that there's more to more resources I have on hand to talk about. But yeah, we could talk about food. So I have a little bit of a description about what I mean by having food as an aspect of life to give conscious attention to. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is this any order?
Yeah, there's a particular order. I tried to start where it's easier to start. That's one thing to think of, because so basically work might be different for all kinds of different people. It might be really hard to come to terms with your working life for some people if it's not in the kind of desired place that you'd like to be, or there's all these things going on. But in terms of food, we all pretty much everyone eats food, 3 meals a day or more. We snack, we enjoy food. I'm sure everyone enjoys food, shares food with people. We have, biological tendencies, what we like to eat, and habits since what we've eaten since we're younger. And so it's an easy place to start. It's like, yeah, it's easy to play with. We can, the concept of it, as well as thinking about small things that we could put into practice. And like going through to something like plan your life, having a vision. Yeah, I mean, like, so for example, if you start eating healthier, and you start exercising and getting that physical activity regularly, you'll probably be, after a month, 2 or 3 months, I would say probably be in a much better space to really grapple with what kind of vision you would like to have for your life. Whereas if and that's not to say that some people might have a pretty good diet and might be physically active anyway. So you have to also consider where you are, and so it's totally fine to skip some of these and be like, yeah, I don't really feel like I need to put any conscious attention on this. Yeah, this is valuable, but yeah, other things spark my interest. So that's good to know as well. But I arranged it in this way where it's like a beginner, like a child. It's like, if you want to pass some wisdom on to the next generation, or to your own kids, it's like starting off with fundamental stuff like food, going through to something like planning your life, having a vision for your life. And then I put play as the last one, because I think it rounds it off very, very, very nicely, or kind of almost necessarily. Whereas, because we're getting kind of serious about all this stuff, and like, hey, why are we doing this? Oh, here's the reasons why, and like, here's the approach, and here's all the the experience and the information to back it up. But at the end of the day, like, if you're just like working 7 days a week, all the hours of the day, you're not real.
You're not enjoying.
And so like, and so that's also a thing, is to take it seriously, to take your play time and your rest time seriously, in the sense that, like, you gotta have fun, and you've got to let yourself go. So I put that in the end as that, like, kind of final reminder that, like, nah, calm down, man.
Don't be so serious.
You did it, and then
why so serious?
Now you got to be serious about not being serious. Ooh, that's the last one. Yeah, so for food, everyone's starting at a different place. So eat healthily is easy to say, but it's hard with the cost of healthier food might be higher than the cheap stuff. Fair enough. You might not have access to, or you don't know where to get, good stuff. Like, if you're living in a really big city, and it's hard to get the really fresh vegetables or fruit. So to keep that kind of thing in mind is like, not to eat healthily, but to aim to eat a little bit more healthier as time progresses, and to put conscious attention on that is like, do you think you're eating enough fruit or vegetables, or whatever it is that you think would be healthy? And if you do think that you're not quite eating enough, then putting conscious attention on that, and moving forward a little bit to be like, okay, I'll add these greens to my dinner tonight.
Mm.
And I'll make sure I buy fresh fruits and vegetables when I do my weekly shop.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So healthy, and that's healthy in the sense that step by step, a little bit more healthy. If that's what you feel like you should be doing, you can do it, and you can do it at your pace.
Mm.
As long as you're making progress that is reasonable and you judge it's reasonable for you, like might be too much of a jump for other people. Other people might think, well, that's nothing, but it's really up to you.
Mm.
Another one is balance for food. So that would be a balance of, talked about fruits and vegetables, but you also need proteins and carbohydrates, or
Yep.
it really depends on, like, there's all these different kind of diets running around there, and can get overwhelmed with information, but it's you have to experiment, and you have to listen to how you feel. How do you feel after you eat a certain meal? How do you feel after you eat certain foods for a number of days or weeks? And yeah, it might be good to try balancing things. So for example, if you've got a lot of dry stuff in one meal, you might have a soup to kind of balance that out. And even things like color, it's very interesting. If you've got like a curry where you've got like yellow, like turmeric rice, and you've got like a yellow curry, and you've got like
yellow capsicum or something.
Yellow capsicum, and the potatoes have also been colored by the turmeric, so they're yellow. You look at that and then compare that to something where it's like these like dark red brown Mexican beans, a really green leafy green salad with maybe some avocado guacamole green stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might have some more lighter yellowy white rice, like a mix of these kind of things. That's also, yeah, great to think about in terms of balance. So colors, textures, and the types of food as well. Or it might be raw. People have different body types. For me, I can get away with eating a bit more cooked food because I think, and based on my study as well, I need a bit more cooked food than the average person. But other people might need a bit more raw food, so lots of salads and stuff, and also understanding that food can cool you down if you're eating and heat you up. If you're eating casseroles and soups and curries in the winter, nice, you'll be feeling good. If you're eating like chicken salads and stuff, salmon and that kind of thing in the summer, it's going to cool you down. And if you find that you're eating like having a green smoothie and salads and stuff in the winter and you feel like shit, well, think about what you're going to think about the balance of like the seasons and the food.
Yeah.
Okay, so another one is quality. I would definitely recommend investing in food that is good quality if you think that you yourself are good quality, if you are worth investing into yourself, or you think that even if you're like, oh no, I'm not that good quality, it's like, well, start treating yourself as if you were, and using the best resources to fuel the best engine, which you are. And I think it's just a good thing, a way you can relate to yourself is like, are you worth the most expensive, like organic, free range, the most, the local stuff? It's like, yeah, I am. I could spend my money on this and that, all kinds of other things, but yeah, I'd spend my money on myself, like the food I'm putting into my body.
There's two things. So right now my wife isn't working, so that changes her priorities about money. But I tell her she can spend as much as she wants on books and food, and I tell her to go out of her way to buy higher quality food, even if it's more expensive.
Yeah, and it sounds like books is just like food for the mind. You're consuming the best information, or like, don't hesitate to.
Books for me have much more value than the price tag.
Definitely.
Basically every single time.
So and you know, like I'd recommend it, and I think I probably still am in that position where we could save money by buying a bit cheaper.
Mm.
It's not just like you're eating the best quality food, but it's also that you're choosing to pay extra to buy the best quality food, and that
Yeah.
choice is like you're saying yes, that I am worth the best.
Yeah.
So high quality. But I've also found myself being like, get this like the organic stuff and be like, this price is ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I'll just get the second best, which is still pretty good, but
Yeah.
it's much doesn't cost as much. So I'm not like, you got to be smart about it.
Oh,
Don't be
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So high quality. And another couple of things I would say is learn to cook. So learn to
Yes,
get
of course.
involved with the process of preparing the food that you eat. By doing that, I mean, you figure out, you can see or you can experience with your own hands how it is that these basic ingredients come together with heat and oil and water and things like that. If you make it kind of delicious, yeah, good job. If you make it really delicious, it's like, yeah, not only is it really delicious, but I know how I did it and I know the process, and you can take this even much, much further in the sense that how about if you grew the vegetables that you use to make the food that you make with your own hands? And then how about
Excellent.
if you did the compost to boost the soil health? And so you're turning the compost, put the soil, put it in the soil, then make a vegetable garden, then you get the vegetables, then you go and cook for yourself.
Yeah.
You can sort of take that line of thinking very far. But yeah, I would say like learn to prepare the food yourself, and you don't have to do it all the time, but like take an interest in it. Like it's your it's worth it. And then if you're a woman or if you're a man, if you can do stuff with food, you'll impress people. And if no one's around, you'll impress yourself. So it's a win-win. But yeah, even if you're what?
Well, like everyone loves food, so if you can do something excellent with food, then yeah, you can impress not only other people but yourself. I love that. Yeah.
But still, even forget about that. It is very impressive. Like for anyone, if you're looking for a partner and you'd be like, yeah, man, I can cook. Oh, I'll cook you up this kind of thing. It's like, how is that going to fail to impress as opposed to like, oh, I don't know, let's go and get, whatever. Yeah. So that's a bit I have to say about food. There's a few notes I have.
If you're in the hospitality industry, for example, if you're a chef, or even for me, sometimes I like making coffee for people because it gives me joy to see how people like it. Yeah, I have confidence in being able to make good coffee. Maybe not other foods, but yeah, there's a certain joy in being able to share your creations as well in that sense. Even if it's because it's interesting because food, we consume it, so it disappears, which is it's a bit of a contrast between something like a book or something. If you're creating a book or a blog or even a podcast, you can have it over and over, but with food, like every single time you make it, it's different.
It's one of those transient experiences where it comes and goes, but people love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
people like go to the movies and have the experience, and then the experience stays with them afterwards.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
surely for food as well, I'm sure. Yeah, we can like that kind of, oh man, that guy's meals are really good that he cooked. Like after many weeks or months afterwards, be like, yeah, well, I'll go back and visit him and
eat his food.
Yeah, I know there'll be some nice stuff on the plate. Yeah. We all, I guess we pay attention to food to some extent, to some level, but it might be worth reviewing your relationship with food and seeing where you could make it even better. Like another thing I would say is like think about how often you chew for each bite.
Yep.
And think about like Do you chew it like a machine gun? Like, okay, we've got to get these 30 chews out really, you know, or like, or like, you know, it's like just really enjoy it. So yeah, I've been busy doing my stuff, but I'll make an effort to have a little bit more time to really
Yeah.
enjoy the process of
Yeah.
eating the meal.
Yeah.
And you know, you can do all this stuff like set the table instead of plonking down on a couch or something. You could have a nice view of where you're sitting, so you're not staring at a wall or you know, looking out a window or gazing into the eyes of someone you love. You
Yeah.
know, make time for that. All these small things. Yeah.
You know, one
In
time,
Japan, itadakimasu.
yeah, in Japan, yeah. I was just going to say, one time I was at a elementary school here, and we have the school lunch, obviously, and they had, I think it was the school nurse, and the school nurse had organized for every person, every student and teacher to have a piece of squid, and our challenge was to eat. It was a certain size, and our challenge was to count how many bites it took us
Yeah.
before we ate it. I remember for me it was more than 100 because it was a really hard piece of squid, dry squid. But something simple as counting the number of bites you have when you eat as well, like it makes a big difference. It makes you enjoy the meal more as well. Yeah, Japan's attitude towards food is probably a huge reason why there aren't many fat Japanese people. I don't know, it's a bit hard to say because they do have a lot of processed foods. But if you're thinking about the traditional Japanese home where generally it would be a female mother or grandmother does the majority of the cooking, there's a lot of care goes into preparing the meals and balancing.
And all the way through to the presentation, like that would change the way that you interacted with it when you sit down to eat. You're like, instead of being like, oh yeah, it's like on my plate, gobble it up. Instead it's like, whoa, this is too beautiful to eat almost. It's like, oh, you have to kind of be a bit humble.
That's right.
And feel like, oh, I'm going to eat this with relish, and you know, not with relish, but with the feeling. You know, you just.
That's what itadakimasu means, though, doesn't it? I humbly receive.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your
exactly that translation.
Yeah.
I humbly receive, because it's a.
That's right, because you're trying
to you're putting from above.
You're putting yourself down below.
And about the counting the chewing thing, because some things come up in my mind where I'll be like, well, what about if someone's like, what the, you know, 30 times, you have to chew like 30 times. It's like, so I would say, like, it's not about the number of times you chew. Who cares how many times you chew? The reason why we talk about, well, why I think we talk about this kind of thing, like paying attention to how many times you chew, is to pay attention to eating the food, to be conscious of you're in the process of, you know, gratefully and deliciously eating the food. And if that means, some people say, like, here's one way to shift your attention, instead of thinking about work or thinking about other stuff you have to do, or like feeling tired, or whatever, you put your attention on just this process, and you don't have to count the numbers, and you don't have to be like, oh, I should chew more, chew less. But I think the thing is, enjoy the process, like, you know, eat, like, be in the process of eating while you're eating, and not absent-mindedly eating.
If you really want to get into it, you can close your eyes as well.
Yeah. I've got you know, me, you, and Josh, and I think Josie and Hannah maybe came with us. Way back in the day, we went out to the Elm, and I've got a video of Josh when he got his, I don't know, it might have been pork belly or something, and he put it in his mouth, and he was just like, he had his eyes closed, you know. It's like really enjoying it. So why not? Enjoy it. We hope to have engaged you in a conversation about how we can improve our lives through the ways we relate to food. In the next episode, we will be discussing physical activity. We hope you can be a part of that conversation too, so stay tuned. If you have any questions or feedback, please send it to theikiguys@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.